Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for that introduction. Thank you, SJA, Ian, Victoria, for allowing me to be a part of this inaugural U.S. event. I'm excited. I admit it's a bit disconcerting to have my face behind me. But thankfully, with the 4 a.m. arrival, hey, what could go wrong? Starbucks is my friend, and I'm good to go. So let me try and meet the expectations that Michael set for us, or for me today. As a country, we're laser focused on protecting our physical borders. Every day we're reading stories on securing points of entry, documenting immigrants, and deporting individuals that were in this country illegally. For a moment, please put aside your own individual perspectives on immigration and border security. I want to talk to you today about an issue that doesn't recognize physical borders. It infiltrates our systems, our networks, and our supply chains, moving silently as imperceptible sequences of zeros and ones. These digital intrusions are already here, pre-positioned, embedded, and waiting. Think Salt Typhoon, think Volt Typhoon. These are nation-state adversaries, strategic competitors investing in long-term access and control. These actors have spent significant resources to pre-position themselves to disrupt, deceive, and disable at whatever moment that they choose. That means taking hospitals offline, interrupting the electric grid, or cutting access to your life savings right when stability matters most. The front line doesn't run through Washington, D.C., where I thankfully was able to get out of at the crack of dawn. It runs through this room. You, the CISOs, the heads of security, you occupy positions that are, dare I say it, more consequential than many government agencies. Why? The vast majority, many of you know this, over 90% of our critical infrastructure is privately owned. You control the systems that run our grid, our food supply chains, our financial flows, and our communications infrastructure. When, not if, but when a crisis hits, your ability to reconstitute systems and maintain confidence in the integrity of the data will determine how fast we can bounce back as a nation. Let's dispense with a myth right now. Perfect cybersecurity, 100%, just doesn't exist, despite companies selling it left, right, and center. It's simply a fantasy. No system is impenetrable. Breaches will happen. Adversaries will get in. But chaos doesn't have to follow that. Preparation is what matters. The steps you've taken to minimize impact, build resilient systems, and accelerate recovery. That's where the future of security lies. Not in perfect defense, in resilient design. Let me ground this in a moment from my past. I was a young-ish lawyer at an agency referred to as the no such agency, but the National Security Agency, when a gentleman named Edward Snowden released a trove of highly classified national security information. The leaks were operationally devastating, but they also forced a public reckoning. It's worth noting that the information released, not a single aspect pointed to illegal activity. But legality is merely one measure of appropriateness. The real question was whether the government's actions aligned with what the public believed to be appropriate in the name of national security. In the wake of the Snowden disclosures, former President Obama, Chicago native, created the Review Group on Intelligence and Communications Technologies. I served as their lawyer. The Review Group issued a series of over 40 recommendations to bring internal systems and operational protocols into closer alignment with the expectations of the public. Many of those reforms were adopted, mainly because they enhanced public trust in their government. What was true in government then is true in the private sector now. We're largely a reactive society. That trust is continuing to being undermined, particularly with the federal government at present. Too often, we delay the necessary investments, planning, preparation that we know are needed until after the catastrophic event happens. Some may say that's human nature. I disagree. When you can see the writing on the wall, there's no excuse for inaction. We've already seen what disruption looks like. Think Colonial Pipeline, or better yet, CrowdStrike, in which the ripple effects from a flawed software update brought operations to a halt at countless businesses, including Delta Airlines. That wasn't a hostile act. But tell that to Delta, whose systems were down for days, resulting in the loss of an estimated $500 million. While we sit complacent, not realizing the fragile foundation upon which our systems are based, red lights are blinking all around. Now imagine those same outcomes, timed, targeted, and executed by a capable adversary. These moments aren't anomalies, they're signals. We ignore them at our own risk. So how do we respond? The federal government can't do this alone. It's impossible. The reauthorization of the Cyber Information Security Act, a bill that I worked on of 2015 up for reauthorization, is an important step, sure, enabling timely threat sharing and coordination, but it's but one tool. Effective resilience requires more than policy. It requires action before the breach, not after. To better manage this risk and protect your ability to operate, I simply recommend 4 strategic actions. First, engage early and often with your federal partners, as difficult as that might be in this current context. Joining public-private partnerships is merely the start, but what matters is the interpersonal relationships, as Ian was referencing, the meeting the folks next to you that you may not know before this event, building the trust before the next crisis. That trust only comes through sustained connectivity. So when the pressure hits, the relationships hold. Second, design for reconstitution. Assume breach, plan for recovery. How are you going to restore operations? Securely and with minimal disruption starting on day 1. Third, prioritize data integrity. In an AI-driven world, compromised data is the new denial of service. The challenge isn't just getting the systems back online, it's knowing whether what you're restoring can be trusted. Finally, shift from compliance to consequence. Cyber insurance and frameworks have their place, sure, but surviving disruption requires more. It demands leadership, investment, and a mindset built around mission continuity, not just minimal standards. Above all, you must lead. Share with your colleagues what works. Speak with one voice when policy risks moving faster than operations or lagging behind urgent need. You don't just protect your companies. In all honesty, in many instances, you shield the nation from systemic failure. In closing, I've seen the risks up close. I've also seen what happens when capable people choose to lead in those instances. That's why I remain optimistic. We've faced hard challenges before, we've come out stronger. We've been here, we've stared down what felt insurmountable, and we prevailed, not by chance, but by choice. The next time our adversaries flip the switch, they won't aim to destroy, they'll aim to disrupt. So, an undermining of confidence, chaos. Their goal is to fracture our trust in the systems that power modern life. Our collective job of those here in this room is to make sure they can't undermine that trust. Thank you.